Welcome in to what will probably be a very interesting episode here of Motor City Metrics. I am Mike Papchak alongside you and Ashley today. We have a ton to talk about today, guys. The Tigers managed to really lay an egg against two presumably inferior opponents. We are going to be seeing them entering the trade deadline under 500. And all of that being said, we're going to see Max Clark also before the trade deadline. And Jake Rogers is gone as well. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. I am not happy. This Tigers team has directly affected my week this week. Those last two games against Kansas City, I don't think I've been more furious to see a loss all year. And that's truly saying something. And then we watched the ways that they lost against the Orioles. That 10-9, 11-inning game was really just a pure microcosm and a perfect snapshot of the Tigers season, really. So, I mean, that's how I'll start it off. I don't know exactly where you guys want to start here, but how are you guys feeling right now?
Well, this is called the Wednesday fiasco, right? Yesterday's game was something you already see a lot of Tigers fans talking about. It's one of the worst losses they remember in the history of Comerica Park. I saw a stat today that teams who are up 7 runs at home after the 6th inning have lost like 33 times in the last 70 years. And Detroit became number 34 yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it was an ugly loss. It really turned a lot of people off in terms of what's coming up here at the deadline. But, again, it's a loss in July. How much weight do you put into it any more than a loss back in June? I don't know. But just the way they lost it was very disheartening between the defense and the bullpen and a couple of at-bats where they could have put that thing away. That was a rough one to watch, and it put a bad taste in everybody's mouth moving into what's going on Monday.
I feel like the vibes were super high coming out of that Cubs series, winning that Cubs series. Like, I felt good about it because I know the Cubs have really good offense. The Cubs are a good team. Going into the Royals series, obviously we felt good the first 2 games. Lost the 3rd game, and I was like, okay, you know what? Like, it's okay. Like, it was just a 1-run loss. It was just, we'll come back tomorrow. And then they lost again the next day. And then for me, the first Orioles loss was where I drew the line. I was like, that kind of feels like that. What was it, 8-5 loss. That one kind of felt like it was it for me. Like, I think Scott Bentley tweeted something and I was like, oh, so that was like all of our breaking point then. Cause that was how I felt after that game. I was like, that's my breaking point. I'm done. Like, I'm done. And so then when I actually wasn't watching, cause I was running some errands and at school. So I wasn't completely watching that 3rd game until the very end. And once they tied it up, I'm not going to lie, I turned it off. Like, I watched like, like the game day or whatever, like what was happening. Cause I like to torture myself, but I turned it off. I was like, I can't, I don't want to upset myself. Like,
no, that was, I texted 8 people, like literally 8 different people actually that night. And I said, Tiger season's over. Football season starts 30 something days. I don't remember exactly. Look, hey, anybody who watches this show knows that I'm not afraid to admit that I am an emotional roller coaster kind of a person. I'm going to react to what I see. I've got some high highs and low lows. Well, yep, I told every person that any person who had ever heard me mention baseball ever really in my life, I was like, Tiger season's over. You want to go to a football game? Like, what do you think about, the Lions now? Like, I'm literally just like, you're right. That was it. And really, they had to win out at that point to be 500 at the deadline. They had to go 6-0. They had to sweep the Orioles and the Athletics. And really, it's just like, that's all they had to do. Even with the 2 terrible losses in Kansas City, I don't want to beat a dead horse because really that's what this team has become. That's what this team is. You can blame the bullpen. There's a lot of inconsistencies all around that really are to blame for a lot of things. And it's frankly just become, it's almost masochism to endure really the game by game kind of emotional roller coaster that we've been riding.
Well,
I mean, Deadly Ninja Bees, I think since the first show of the season, you've been talking about it. Sorry, you, but like really, Deadly Ninja Bees has been bringing up the deadline for the whole season.
It could be the high point of the season, depending what happens the next few days. I just think this, as maddening as these losses were, and again, yesterday's game, it could have been salvaged 8 different ways, right? And they let every one of them go. But again, it's a game in July, and I think between now and the end of the season, every single team that's in contention, especially in the wild card, is going to have a hot streak and a cold streak and probably multiple of each. And yes, the Tigers are put themselves in a rough spot, and they're behind too many teams right now. But with 50-something games left and no real behemoths in front of them in terms of really great baseball teams, I hate to – I'm not climbing aboard that train if this thing is over. It's depressing. I'll give you that much. It's depressing right now a little bit. But depending on what Max Clark can infuse into this team, who they pick up at the deadline this week, who they let go, it won't take much more than a 2-week hot stretch to put them right in position.
Well, and here, Harrison, this is something that we were going to bring up, but if someone's saying it now, I figured we'd start now. They bring up an interesting point, and I completely agree. The thing is, the way that the Tigers have treated their prospects, the way that they have been careful with their service time to not burn anything like that, I think that with Max Clark coming up, I think that they are not throwing in the towel either, Yub. I think the organization agrees with you. I do not think I mean, we talked about it last week. We said, yeah, he's probably going to be up mid-August. That's when he doesn't have to burn. He can still get some regular at-bats at that point, but he won't have to burn his rookie status. They'll keep the control. He'll still be in play next year for like the whole rookie of the year thing, situation with the draft pick, yada, yada, yada. We talked about that. But then bringing him up now, and I mean, before the trade deadline, maybe this scares some people, but maybe they still aren't sure. And they're like, well, maybe we need to we got the one guy that was hitting 140 out of our lineup. And we'll talk a little bit about Jake Rogers. We love Jake Rogers, but dude was a black hole on offense. And then you look at the roster, and where's the other black hole on offense? It's your center fielder. It's James Outman. So you're bringing up Max Clark to literally to fill in and play a position of need. You need a center fielder, not only defensively, but you need anyone with a pulse to bat. Anyone it's a little bit more awake than James Outman, who's, I believe, down to like a career 163 hitter. Just these aren't the moves of a team that's giving up. This is not how a team who is saying that we are playing for next year is giving up. So to your point, Harrison, no, I do not think that they are going to sell everybody. And I do think it's interesting that we're seeing a lot of that on social media where everybody's like, sell everything. And it's like, I don't really know if that's where this team is at right now. I mean, I know that's not where this team is at right now.
What do you think, Ashley?
I can't speak for everybody, but I think for me personally, anyway, I feel like ever since everybody got hurt at the beginning of the season, for me, I've been kind of waiting, like, okay, like, let's get Javy back. Let's start getting our guys back. You know, we didn't know at the very beginning how long Skubal was going to be out. Let's get him back. Let's get Mize back and healthy. Let's get everybody back and healthy. Glaber. I can't even remember who was all on the IL. Everybody, it seemed like at one point. But, you know, I was like, I'm just like waiting for kind of that like 2-week stretch where they were just really going to do it. And it's like, you see that for me for like a couple games. And then it's just like, they have these just clunkers that you're just like, to me, it does not look like a playoff team. Like, and I hate to say that because I really wish that wasn't how I felt. But it just doesn't look like a playoff team. Like, they're not having the at-bats that a playoff team would have. The bullpen, I mean, at this point, I feel like who do you even use in high leverage situations? Like, let's say you do. I mean, I suppose if they really wanted to, they could acquire somebody at the trade deadline. But It's weird because it's like they are so tight-lipped. You have no idea what's going on in their heads. But to me, it doesn't look like a playoff team. I am excited to see Max Clark, and I'm excited to, see any other changes they decide to make. I'm excited to see what kind of packages they get at the trade deadline, but it just doesn't yell playoff team. Or if it does, I could see, and somebody brought this up on the show, I think a couple of weeks ago, that it would almost seem like the Twins did a couple years ago, but like in reverse, like it would be like saved until the very last day, or I don't know. To me, it doesn't look like a playoff team, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being negative. I don't know. I try not to be.
Well, I think that in a lot of ways you're right. This doesn't seem like a playoff team as presently constituted in the way they've played. Even though they've played pretty well, through the month of June into July. Just these last few games, things have really gone in the tank. But you can't always bring up 2024 and what the Tigers did. But that team didn't look like a playoff team either. And they got it together. They found something that worked, and they rode it to the playoffs. Last year, Cleveland kind of did the same thing. They looked dead in the water, and they made their incredible run to the playoffs. So I think there's enough talent where they could go on a 2-month stretch and get in. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of problems, and certainly it starts in that bullpen. And you're right. Who's gonna pitch and leverage? It's a daily crapshoot there.
I mean, they just traded their best bullpen arm to Baltimore, right? Jake Rogers.
There you go.
They did an interesting one in return, though. Well,
yeah,
he won't be probably in the big leagues until probably next season, but he looks
right. But I did want to bring up. You say the Tigers aren't a playoff team, but maybe I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate. Do you think the Minnesota Twins are a playoff team because they're one game out? Do you think the Houston Astros are a playoff team right now because they are one game out?
No.
The answer to that for me is no.
Well, so I feel like, though, a team like the Texas Rangers, even a team like the Mariners, because that AL West has been so neck and neck for a while. I feel like those are teams, though. Like, you look at the Rangers rotation, they have Eovaldi, they have Gore, and they have DeGrom. I feel like you add a little bit of offense to that team, they're a playoff team. Same with the Mariners. I think you need somebody who can hit left-handed pitching for them, maybe another back-end bullpen piece, but you make the right adds to one of those teams. And I feel like those are teams who are more likely to be a little bit more aggressive than the Tigers are. I just feel like we'll have to see after the trade deadline, but I don't see the Tigers being aggressive enough to make the moves to go for it this year. I can see them just kind of doing a buy sell thing and then just kind of seeing what happens. I just don't see them being aggressive buyers.
No, I don't.
They can't replace the whole bullpen.
I mean, couldn't they? I think the WAR collectively is negative. So by that definition, they can just literally bring in any average AAA reliever, right? And he would perform better. No, but
I agree with that, though, Mike. Here's the thing. In 2024, right, they brought in Brendan Hanafy and Sean Gunther, and they ended up getting the 20 best innings of Sean Gunther's life. You can't always rely on that, but that's how all of a sudden they had depth in their bullpen that they didn't have, and it was probably a little bit of luck. Then last year they brought in all those no names at the trade deadline, and things went the exact opposite, right? They all tanked. They couldn't recreate that magic. But that is an affordable thing that certainly if Scott Harris wants to try to play roulette with that again, he can.
I do think that ultimately we're going to see some sort of a buy-sell situation. We're even seeing reports. I will say any report you're seeing about Tarik Skubal, take with a grain of salt. I think Jeff Passan has just been playing bingo, being I have to write an article that there is this percentage chance, and he's got to write 10 of them. So he did 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I think at one point in the last 6 weeks, he was at 10 through 90 at any given time. I don't think he has any idea. He keeps saying it's expected, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Jeff Passan has any idea what's happening with Tarik Skubal. I think he's guessing like I kind of tend to do, and eventually you kind of get him right. But that being said, we are also seeing that what the Tigers are asking for in a trade is somebody who's ready to take over in the rotation for him when he leaves. They are looking for a major league rotation arm. That, along with the Max Clark thing, really does scream a team that is not throwing in the towel. Ooh, excuse me. They are trying to take their best piece and do something with it for the immediate future. I don't really know how people are going to feel about that. I don't think you're going to see a fire sale of everybody. And I feel like it's so odd that some people want that. But that's not really the way that they've set themselves up, you know?
Well, I just don't know. They have a lot of expiring contracts, obviously, but I just don't know if there's enough guys who have the value around the league to execute a fire sale of everybody who might be out there for the Tigers. I'm kind of the low person on Casey Mize. He's hurt so often. I mean, what are people really going to pay up for that guy?
The Athletic has him as
hurt a lot.
The Athletic has Casey Mize as the number 3 free, the number 3 pitcher at the trade deadline with Skubal at number 1.
And I saw that. I know you're right, but I don't buy it. I'll believe it when I see it on that one. I just can't imagine any team is really going to give up even one of their 10 best prospects for a guy who, let's face it, Casey Mize can stand in a stiff breeze and he gets hurt. Okay, he's hurt all the time. I would never put anything into that if I was trading for a guy like that.
I also feel like, just to add this in, I think people overestimate how much a trade deadline can actually help a team, if that makes sense. I feel like there's not this magic trade deadline that's just going to turn them into a playoff team. If they do a buy sell thing and they can get some luck on whoever they end up getting, that would be great. But I mean, and going into trade deadlines too, and looking at even last year, I know people complain about who they got and all of that, and none of it worked out. I understand that it wasn't a great deadline, maybe other than Kyle Finnegan, but consider the pieces that we gave up, right? So you give up better pieces than that. You give up a Skubal, you give up a Mize. Hopefully you can get better players in return.
Well, Tarik Skubal's right. He's in a category all of his own, right? I mean, if you took him out and just looked at everybody else the Tigers have available, it's okay, but it's nothing great. But Tarik Skubal is a guy who we know can give some contender 2 months of incredible pitching, but more importantly, can take the ball in a playoff series and help propel your team forward. Now, some will say, well, they never won a World Series in Detroit with him. Who cares? They never won a World Series with Verlander either. But when he went to somebody else's team, he took them to the World Series. And Tarik Skubal could do that too. So I really do believe there is a chance, especially if it's true 5 or 6 teams are bidding on him, they should be able to get some sort of difference-making return in players for Tarik Skubal that the combination of all the other guys who are available for the Tigers couldn't even sniff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be difference-making this year, though. I could see it being difference-making maybe next year, but...
Yeah, that I agree with you, and I'm not worried about who they bring in now, unless it's bullpen arms, who can help them this year. I think they're going to have to win with who they got and whoever's left. But I'm talking into 2027, 2028, depending what happens in 2027.
I mean, 2027, looking back at, I think even last year and the year before, I've always said I thought 2027 was going to be their year. I didn't even predict them, not necessarily that they wouldn't make the playoffs this year, but actual deep run World Series. I was thinking 2027 and 2024. So maybe I still have a chance of being right.
Well, it's just, is it going to be a 100-game season? But it doesn't matter. No matter what they set up next year, if there's a lockout, whoever wins the World Series is going to be remembered for winning the World Series. It really won't matter what the regular season looks like. You look at the 1981 when the Dodgers won the World Series they played 112 games that season because of the strike. Nobody cares. I mean, nobody puts an asterisk by it. So, yeah, next year could be the year.
Maybe. I mean,
I think they have the talent to do it. If give a good trade deadline and a good offseason I think it could really do a lot.
Well, so what's a good trade deadline for you then? Do you think that they should sell more than anything else?
Yes, I think that they should. In return for Skubal, what would I like? I would like either a is it Sirota?
Yeah.
Somebody like that, or somebody like Zaire Hope, a major league ready pitcher, a top 20 prospect, and maybe another top 30 prospect. Looking at like just that team system.
We're going to put you in the front office, Ashley. You're driving a hard bargain. I like that.
For me, that's what I would like to see. Maybe it might be a little bit high, but I know the ask is going to be really high. I do feel like this is a front office that, like, if they don't get the package they're looking for, they're not going to do it. Like, I don't think that they are desperate to do it. I think they need to. I think they want to. I think they know that. But if they don't get what they want in return, like, I can see them just being like, we're not doing it.
You bring up all those Dodger guys. The way I kind of look at it with the Dodgers is that they have 5 really talented minor league outfielders, right? That people talk about the most. I'm almost fine with just pick 2. Any 2 of those 5, good. Then they have the pitching. If you really want a guy now who contributes now, then you look at Robleski, you look at Emmett Sheehan. But I'll tell you, if they can get their hands on Christian Zazueta, that's the way to go. I don't care if he's a year out, year and a half out. I mean, if you look at the video on that guy, you know, he's throwing 100-mile-per-hour gas with a nasty little slider. I think he would be the guy to target on the pitching side from the Dodgers.
Hey, I'm sorry to kind of ruin the flow here. I just saw this comment from Rich, and I just need to address it by saying, Rich, give me whatever you're smoking, buddy, because it seems like great stuff. Holy crap. How you're in the clouds, my man. If you think that Riley Greene needs to go, why does this town hate Riley Greene? What did he do?
Everybody to be Shohei Ohtani? Why are we expecting everybody to be like a double plus player? That's not reality.
Did he sleep with like the town's collective mother? Did he slap the collective girlfriend of Detroit's ass? What the hell did he do? This dude literally could be shit and gold, and people are like, hey, well, I like silver better than gold. It doesn't matter what Riley Greene does. Why does he get so much hate? Oh, my goodness.
I mean, everybody complained because of the strikeouts, right? He cuts down on strikeouts this year with the approach. He's 21% strikeout rate this year. He upped the walk rate a little bit. And yes, he did sacrifice some power because he only has 15 home runs this year. But this is what you wanted from him last year. And this is what he's doing this year. So now what do you want from him? Do you want him to be Shohei?
Yeah, he's not pitching. That's the bullpen help we were looking for, right? Like, I don't know what that guy has to do. He's like one of the best players that I can think of in recent memory that everybody hates. Yeah. Riley, your weird like eyebrow thing, I love it. Everything about him. He seems like a weird dude, and I love Riley Greene. I'm sorry. I've been seeing those comments like all year, and then that one just set me over the edge a bit. I think that's nuts.
So what could they get for Riley Greene?
824 OPS, who improved his approach. I think we're forgetting he is still only 25 years old. I'm not saying he's not in his prime, but I'm saying he is still learning. Why are we complaining about one of the best players on the team? Don't we want to shit on the bullpen? Don't we want to shit on whoever we think is not doing their job? Why do we think Riley Greene is not doing his job? That's blows my mind.
This is depressing, but
no, he really did.
That's the truth.
He really
did. Just about a true statement right there. Absolutely.
And then Eduardo Valencia is going to go through a little bit of a slump. The league's going to adjust to him. He's probably going to have trouble adjusting back because everybody does, and then everybody's going to hate him. We got to stop expecting every single player to be, a 60 or a 65 or a 70. Not everybody's going to be an all-star. If we had a team made up of all-stars, we'd be the Dodgers, for God's sake.
Well, Gail, there's a reason that you're watching us and you're not the GM of a baseball team. I can tell you that. Holy crap, I'm not taking it. Come on, keep them coming.
Riley, don't believe them. We love you.
Now, who was the guy who said the initial statement there? What was his name?
Wait, what?
The commenter who said the original.
Initial one about.
Jed Rich, I believe.
Okay, let's say this.
Yeah, Rich.
First off, Rich, thanks for listening. Thank you for contributing. You got Mike's way on that one. You became the target, and that's okay. I think Riley Greene is a great player, but he's an imperfect player. But I'll say this as well. If you want to make a move at the trade deadline that's going to be interesting and bring in, something of talent, you have to put a player out there like that sometime. I don't think now is the time on Riley Greene. And the people who are saying that he sucks and he should be traded, well, that's stupid. But if you wanted to say that, hey, we could put him out there and see if we get 4 or 5 really good prospects in return, that's a conversation worth having, even though we know they're not going to do it. But to say that he sucks, so therefore you should trade him. If you're right and he sucks, who wants him? So it's I get a little tired of that commentary as well.
What do you want from him? Like to the person who made that original comment, what would you like from him? I want to know the batting average you want from him. I would like to know the OPS you want from him. How many home runs do you want him to hit? All of this. Come on, let's go quickly.
Again,
what kind of walk rate?
Let's not make fun of our listeners too much.
No, man. I mean,
what
look.
do you want from him? It's a legitimate question. What do you want? It's a legit question. When I said I wanted Skubal traded, Mike asked me, "What do you want?"
All right.
So I'd like to know what he would want. What do you want?
Put those in the comments, everyone. Thank you.
Yes. So look, it needed to be addressed. This is what this Tigers team's doing to me, though. Like I'm getting into arguments with casual fans. Now, I'm not trying to derail the show too much, but talk to a random baseball dude at one of my events that I do, and he was just like, they have to fire Scott Harris. And I was like, oh, yeah, why do you say that? And he's like, well, they're going to miss the playoffs, and he didn't sign Skubal. And, I didn't even argue with him. I was like, oh, that's real interesting, and I just moved on. It's interesting to see the view on kind of the front office and where the Tigers are right now. It's just interesting I don't know. It makes me kind of, I think the team is looked at a little bit differently, probably from the outsider's perspective too.
When a team is coming up short of expectations, I mean, guys like Scott Harris, the general manager, the president of the team, so on, they're going to be in the crosshairs of fans, and especially casual fans who think those type of positions are exposed or expendable. With that you can just dump your GM every year and build a good team. Harris is going nowhere. I can't see any situation that happens the rest of this year where Illich pulls the plug on him. He'll be back.
Yeah, this is a really good point. I mean, we can probably talk a little bit about Max Clark. Like we could talk about something good. Just kind of put blinders on a little bit. We're not thinking about Clark's contract. We brought that up a little bit earlier. The fact is the Tigers are calling up a top prospect. The Tigers are calling up a guy who legitimately has the defense, the base stealing threat. He could have some power. Like he's a guy that has legit tools. And Alan's completely right. His complete MO is to start off slow, everybody turn on him, and just when you think nothing's going to happen, he gets real hot and he goes on a heater. And that has kind of been what Max Clark does at almost every level, or at every level of the minors. So I think there is some truth to that. But in all honesty, Max Clark's going to be playing. I am excited. And James Outman will not be playing. They haven't announced it yet, but he only plays center field. You have Javy, you have Max Clark now. So I'm excited. Max Clark's coming. How are you guys feeling about that?
Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm feeling super excited. I feel like with him, the tools have always been loud. Obviously, he's a hit over power guy, but that's exactly how a center fielder profiles. I mean, unless you're, Curtis Granderson, you're probably not a center fielder hitting 30 plus home runs per year. That's just not how they profile. He is going to bring speed, I think, to the game. I think he's going to bring a certain, I hate to say this, but a certain swag to the game that really nobody but Javy has on the team. It, might bring a little bit of fire, it seems like the players seem to like him. So I feel like he'll be good for the clubhouse. We're talking about somebody who overall this year in Toledo has a 9% in zone swing and miss rate.
Yeah.
That is such a squeaky clean. That's a big thing that I look for, even when I'm doing scouting reports on players. To me, we need that. There's your contact guy. Like, you want another contact guy. We're not going to have Glaber anymore to set the table. Who's going to set the table? Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal next year. I'm super excited. Even if I'm sure he's going to struggle at first, and I'm sure he's going to start doing really well. The league's going to adjust to him. He's a good enough player. He's going to adjust back. It's going to take some time. He's young. He's like 21. But I feel like he's exactly what this team needs. And I've been looking forward to his debut for a really long time. So
it's going to be very interesting the first time they face a righty. If they go Max Clark leading off, Kevin McGonigal batting second, that'll be a lot of fun to see that. I don't know if they'll put him in the leadoff spot right away. He might have to bat 8th or 9th and work his way up in Hinch's, the way Hinch views things. But either way, it's going to be a great time. I love that contact rate that he has as well. That's something I've been following for a long time. Defensively, if they keep Javy in center at times and put him in left field or right field, I can see that happening. That's okay. I don't think that sets his development back if he plays a little bit in the corners this year. And I'm sure the plan is for next year that he will be the starting center fielder.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a slam dunk center fielder. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that kind of makes you wonder I feel almost bad. I mean, I feel bad for the chat was talking about the Meadows brothers earlier. I wasn't going to say too much, but it is worth bringing up. We did have another bona fide center fielder. I'm not saying they had the same tools. He's not the same player as Max Clark, but Parker Meadows was a surefire, amazing defensive center fielder, fastest guy on the team kind of guy. And this injury he had this year, we've heard no updates whatsoever on him really since it happened. If that doesn't happen, we don't see this kind of move. Now, unfortunately, this move is not going to fix their issues because their biggest issues are the bullpen. We almost haven't really talked about it because anybody who watches a single Tigers game can see, oh, yeah, they don't have anybody to come in after the starter's out, really anybody could see that. I don't hate that either. I wonder how much Javy will move around in general. I don't know. I don't want to go off too much on a tangent here.
Well, a lot probably depends if Torres gets traded, right? And then Javy could play a little bit of second base as well. So second, short, third, center. I don't see why he couldn't play right field.
Wouldn't they put Kevin Kevin might be at third, I guess, but maybe Lee at second base, Javy at short. I feel like if Javi's your best shortstop, that's who you run out.
I disagree. I feel like you're seeing Kevin McGonigal get better at shortstop every day. You don't take away those innings from him. If it depends on what you want out of the season. If they really want to stay in this, I get what you're saying and I agree with you. But if they want player development, then the best thing for player development is Kevin McGonigal continues to go to shortstop. We've been seeing a lot more better defensive plays. It was never a sure thing that Kevin McGonigal would stick at shortstop. There were questions coming into this year, and we were almost relieved before Javy went down that he wasn't really going to be forced to go there too often, and we kind of wondered where his innings would come from. And then he's been growing into the role defensively, so that's my only worry with taking those.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do agree with you. I guess I meant more if you have a ground ball pitcher or something. I feel like maybe you put somebody like Javy at short, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, the problem is their ground ball pitchers didn't become ground ball pitchers this year. Framber Valdez.
They're fly ball pitchers. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, right. I mean. So we kind of talked about what we're kind of seeing, we're kind of expecting in a deal. I think when it comes to Tarik Skubal, I know there has been somebody in here. There's a Cubs fan in here, and I just want them to know I haven't been ignoring them. I'm not trying to say this because I dislike the Cubs. It's not like that. I am a Cardinals fan, but I really don't dislike the Cubs more than any other person who's tired of hearing about them. But I think that the Cubs are a distant third in who has a chance to really go after Skubal and who will be willing to put up the price. And they're not in the top two. Yeah. I actually think the Rays and the Dodgers, obviously, are the two teams that have the kind of farm system and the kind of front office. The Rays, I mean, laugh at me all you want. The Rays, when they go for it, they go for it. They get big name guys. Skubal fits that for them when they've had good teams, when they are in first place like they are now, going into the deadline. And they have the farm, they always have the farm system. And then the Dodgers, same thing. They have that farm system. I think that those are your two front runners. I know that everybody's talking about Milwaukee, but let me tell you, Milwaukee sold last year. They don't make those giant risky moves historically. So they're getting brought up a lot, but I don't see that happening. So really, I put the Cubs there as how I'm looking at it is the third most likely destination for him. And Deadly Ninja B's his right, who is the most desperate. And if you don't root for injuries, but I'm not going to lie. As the Tigers lose, I watch the Dodgers and I'm like, maybe one of your starters maybe just tweaks his hammy, has to go on the 15-day DL. Maybe nothing that's going to ruin anything for his career, nothing, but enough that they're oh crap, we need another starter or something.
Well, isn't Shohei not pitching right now?
He isn't. You're right.
Yeah,
exactly. And that definitely
gives them more motivation.
Well, and also McClanahan left the game today for the Rays.
Ooh,
so I haven't heard exactly what's wrong with him, but his velocity was down, which is never a great sign, and he left in the early innings. So. That could be something where the Rays think we got to get somebody. Now the problem is, will the Tigers pay a little bit of Skubal's? I think he has $11 million left. Will the Tigers play a good chunk of that to entice the team like the Rays or the Brewers to really pay up for him?
Well, I feel like with the Brewers, I did read a tweet, and I don't know how true this is, but that Jesus Malley was the ask, and I don't think they're giving him up.
Yeah. I did see that as well.
But I feel like it could come down to the wire, and if somebody gets desperate,
Well, here's the thing. It is a rental, right? It's a 2-month rental, even though it's one of the 3 best pitchers in the world. So if Milwaukee wants to say Jesus Mede is off limits in this trade, I can understand that. But if I'm the Tigers, I say, okay, that's fine, but that's it. No one else. So if you come at me that, Fisher is unavailable, Luis Pena is unavailable, Logan Henderson, blah, blah, blah. Right down the list. No, you can take Mede off the list, but then we're, for someone like Tarik Skubal, we're talking about everybody else that you have left as being in play as we put together a deal that looks fair for both teams. That's kind of how I would approach it anyway.
And to Connor's point, who said it comes down to who cares more about World Series than prospects. Look at somebody like AJ Preller, right? I feel like he really embodies the statement, a prospect is just a prospect until they're not. So if you have a chance to win a World Series, why wouldn't you go all in?
Yeah, it just has not worked so much out for AJ Preller over there yet.
No. It
no, but I'm just
saying. But I'm just saying, I feel like some GMs are definitely more aggressive than others, and it seems like Preller drafts to trade. Every year he's had the opportunity to go for a World Series. He's done it. He's been aggressive. Yep. So again, a prospect's just a prospect until they're not. So.
Well, it's just like the mystery box theory, right? You're trading for a mystery box. I'm going to trade Tarik Skubal for 4 mystery boxes. Who knows? I might even get a Tarik Skubal.
That's right.
Never know.
So, ultimately, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit resigned. I know that all year I've said that I don't think they're trading Tarik Skubal. I will say that was under the assumption that the Tigers would maddeningly be closer to 500 than they're going to end up being going into this deadline. Even if they sweep the Athletics, they're 4 games under. They still are going to have 6 teams or 7 teams ahead of them, including the 3 that hold the wild cards. But they're not going to be in a great spot. I think we're going to see a different Tigers team next week. I don't know how different it's going to be. There is entirely a possibility that we could see something like Tarik Skubal is replaced with Justin Verlander, and those are the only moves that we end up seeing. I personally would not be surprised if Skubal's the only trade that they make, just based on the way that Scott Harris has handled the trade deadline so conservatively in the past. Him recognizing that somebody like that needs to go is different than him saying that he is going all in one way or the other. So I don't think a Skubal trade means that a ton of other moves are even happening. anybody, and I just feel like I don't have any pulse on what they're going to do right now.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could rant about Jeff Passan again, who just let's see what percentage he feels tomorrow. I bet you it'll be 90. I don't know.
To add to that, to piggyback off what you just said, I really, and I've been saying this all week, I really am sick of like the reports without substance. And until something's happened, and I know they just want views, but like until something happens, just I don't want to hear it.
I'm going to disagree. I love every rumor of the trade deadline that there is. I read them all. I consider them all, no matter how absolutely crazy they might be. I think it's one of the best times of the baseball season.
I don't mean necessarily like the trade, like the mock trades. I mean more so like this player is expected to be traded, expected to want prospects in return. Well, yeah, like what else would they ask for? Like, can we just cool it with that?
I hear you.
Yeah, Passan, he really is. He's playing the role of insider, and he doesn't know what he's doing, so he's just throwing darts at a dartboard.
Well, let's look at GD Hammond here real quick.
He's funny.
He asked who's the 1935 or who hit 135 to help the Tigers get to the World Series once upon a time. Can you guys answer that one?
It was like Ryan Rayburn. I don't know.
Brandon Inge.
No. I believe he's talking about 1968, a little shortstop named Ray Euler, who may have been the worst hitter in Tigers franchise history until James Outman came aboard. And even Outman hit a couple home runs. Ray Euler was the guy who, because Al Kaline came back and they had a little playing time crunch in the outfield, they took center fielder Mickey Stanley and put him at shortstop in the World Series, even though he'd never really played there much. That's how much they thought of Ray Euler. So, and it worked. They won the World Series, as we know.
Well, he helped. They won the World Series. So, I mean, you can't say he didn't, I suppose.
It was a gutsy thing to take a guy out of center fielder and put him at short.
I mean, I feel like with Javy, you get somebody who's athletic enough, right? You can be athletic and play in the dirt, and you have range, and you're fast, and your first step is good. You have instincts. Boom, stick him in center field. Look how he did.
I don't think we actually brought up really Javy all that much this show. He's back. He came back since our last show.
I missed him so much.
I just want to see, and you saying that is kind of what I wanted to talk about. Now, I'm talking about a roller coaster of a season. Has there an image of an athlete really in any Detroit sports lore gone through the kind of like image that Javy has had with the fans? Like, he went from being like nervous but hopeful when he got signed to a complete dumpster fire disaster, and everybody hated him and everybody booed him. And then he comes back, reinvented as a center fielder, and it's like, oh, he can add to this team. And now that he's back, everybody's like, well, I mean, the offense could be fixed because we got Javy Baez back. And it's just like, it's taken how many years to get to this point? It took us 6 years of Javy Baez to really see the player that we ultimately thought that we were getting at the beginning of the contract. It's just a very interesting ride that he's had as a member of the Detroit Tigers.
I mean, and he's always offered like the defensive side of it, right? Obviously, he can play shortstop, he can play center field, which are two of the most valuable positions on the field. But I feel like whatever was wrong with his hip, or that the surgery that he got, like really, really helped that swing, like really brought back whatever he had been missing. It almost makes me wonder, like, how long was he actually like hurt for and like in pain?
Yeah, some players get really stubborn about getting things fixed. They want to try to play through it. But I think you're right. That definitely changed the course of his career. Playing center field to help change the course of his career. Shows you a lot can happen in 4 or 5 years of a baseball career. The wild ride he's been on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it a lot today, just like my own personal opinions of Javy. Like, I almost bought a Javy jersey at the beginning of this year. Like, that's how long it's been. When I'm pretty sure when I first got onto this show, I remember bringing a sombrero on when I was so tired of Javy being so bad at the plate. He got that golden sombrero for 4 strikeouts. it's like one of my first shows. I got on, whipped out a sombrero, and just ranted about how much I hated Javy Baez for like a couple minutes. And 2 years later, here we are. It's wild.
He's hard to hate. He's really hard to hate.
I mean, when he strikes out as much as he did, and he waved on a pitch that was in Toledo that, landed in Ohio, I understand what you're saying personality-wise, but watching a player do stuff like that, it's like that. I think that a lot of people are flawed, and they see something like that, and they're like, well, I could do better than that. When somebody does something like that. So I agree with what you're saying at its base, but I think like from a fan standpoint, like if you're waving at a pitch that is like 2 bat lengths out of the zone, it's like, all right, let's
there's no doubt that's frustrating for sure.
Well, you got one more, depending on what happens with the league next year, he's got one more year to go. So it'd be interesting to see how they play that with him. If they pay him off to go somewhere, or do they keep rolling with him as a utility guy?
I feel like you got to keep him. You got to get also like the veteran leadership that he provides to the clubhouse, right? Like obviously he can communicate well with the Latin guys. He speaks perfect English. He can communicate well. Like I feel like he's like seems like almost the glue that they have holding that clubhouse together. So then you move on from everything I just said about him, the defense and all of that he offers, but you move on to the intangibles, and I think he offers a lot there as well.
Well, I just like you think about what Max Clark, even before the call-up a couple days ago, Max Clark had absolutely glowing things to say about the 1 week he spent with Javy in Toledo, what he meant to him. So that was kind of fun to hear.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see. Sorry, I was responding to the comment about how you leave. I was going to say I'm interested to see kind of how he progresses, because we saw him come up, we saw him struggle a little bit, and it seems like he's made some adjustments, and he's making better swing decisions now. But I'm super interested to see what he does next year, like a full year, because I originally predicted he would be an everyday player. Then I said, maybe he'll be, just like a role guy. But now I'm like, well, if you hit, you play. So
right.
And the bat's always been good. So.
And he's not even opened up to a part of his game. And, looking at this with Max Clark, you got Hao-Yu Lee. Like, I don't know what Parker Meadows' role is going in the future, but that's another fast guy. Are we going to see, like, maybe a weird transition of the Tigers maybe being a faster than average team, which is something I don't think I've ever been able to say. But you are going to have guys that have been successful at stealing bases in the minors. I mean, you're going to have Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark, Hao-Yu Lee. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if the Tigers really do kind of switch that based on their philosophy, because it seems like the philosophy has been so long. Like, we're going to take the extra bases. We're not going to steal them. But, I mean, that's kind of an interesting philosophy. And even maybe having Max Clark right now will maybe make you think a little bit about the Tigers' base stealing. I'm curious to see if we'll see an uptick in that.
Well, and I also think for this, all those guys you mentioned, for the people who are kind of on the Scott Harris hate machine, right? The next 3 years are really going to be the team that Scott Harris built, right? I mean, a lot of what he's built, they did well. They got to the playoffs twice. A lot of that was inherited talent that he had to put together into a team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he gets no credit for that. But now you can see the pieces coming together that this will be his squad very, very soon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can argue with that. And, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have just our regular next Thursday show. I know that if you want to come around Monday, the day of the trade deadline, I know that Raj and Chris are going to be doing Tigers minor league report as well. If you're interested, they're going to be breaking down that whole deadline. But at this, it's been a great show. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. But I think at this point, we're going to wrap it up for the night. Thanks again, guys. Really great show for you and Ashley. This is Mike Papchek with Motor City Metrics. Have a good night. We will talk again after this crazy trade deadline.